It will be by the end of this year. So we are currently in the process of updating our software. Unfortunately, it is a auction by auction, lane by lane process. So by December 2011, you'll be ready to go.
Was there a question back here? Yes.
Kind of more of a statement. I do all that bidding, and I've been very pleased with the CRs. I mean, the biggest issues I've had in meetings a couple of months or something, I've called in reimbursement for that. But I wanted to touch on, to let everybody know, we're kind of a little different company. We work out of credit unions, we have multiple branches, so we have salespeople spread out over 4 or 5 counties. And I called Manheim about a month and a half ago, and you guys have a new program called Looker Account.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Just explain that to them. I mean, it's helped us tremendously. It gives anybody who wanted your company access to Manheim without being able to buy anything. So if they want to search for a car without calling you, they can look all through OD and everything and call me and say, here's what I found. I mean, it's a great tool.
Yeah, that's right. So basically, it's
Would you name it again? And okay.
It's called Looker Status. So basically, it means that you, as the principal owner of your dealership, can assign anybody that works for you Looker status on Manheim.com. So what that means is that if your salespeople or basically anybody in your dealership can log into Manheim.com, so they can search for vehicles in Power Search, they can pull up the retail view, they can pull MMR values, they can use their mobile device to pull up MMRs as they're doing trade evaluations or what have you, out on the lot or elsewhere. But they don't have the authority to pull the trigger to buy anything or to sell anything. So there's kind of a safety buffer in there. So they can look, but it's sort of like they can look, but they can't touch. So that's what Looker Status is. And if you're interested in setting someone up at your dealership to have Looker Status, you can do so by calling our 800 number or 866 number. It's 866 Manheim. The value in that for most dealers would be that your salespeople can get on Manheim.com and search for inventory, use that retail view option, sell cars that maybe you don't have on your lot, as opposed to losing a customer over a vehicle that you don't have sitting there. But yeah, and it doesn't cost anything. It's just access. And then if something happens and you lost that employee or something happened and you wanted to restrict their privileges, you simply call the 866 number and they can retract that status.
Other questions? All right. Yes. So this eliminates the salesman saying, give me your name and number, I'll call you when one comes in?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I love it. I mean, they just started it. And I called the guy who was laughing saying, we're just now putting this into place. And I signed up that day. It's been great.
Good.
Y'all have salesmen doing it now? I'll call you when one comes in? Or I'll try to find it for you?
Yeah.
You call the customer up the next day, what happened? You did. Yeah. So it's an outstanding tool.
Yeah.
Now, Mickey, if I go back to, you became a CMD when?
This last February.
And what happened between the time you became a CMD and now in terms of your philosophy and the way you run the business?
Oh, I think it refreshed my ideas. I've been in the business for 34 years, and I went in with an open mind, and I came out with a tune-up. You know, a lot of people, you know, they tune their cars up. I thought, you know what, I'll tune my business up. I actually had a vacation plan when I came back and canceled it because I came back with all these good ideas that were refreshed to me. Now, we recondition our cars. So it was pointed out to me, I said, you know what? I get the receipts from where I spend all this money reconditioning. My average reconditioning expense is $685. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to get these cars ready to go. We finance cars, so I want on my finance 36 to 42 months. I want a car that's going to last this customer 36 to 42 months. One is they're going to have a car that they can pay off, that they can still have a good car, or they get to the end of the term or toward the end of the term. They've got a car that still has a good value left, so they can come in and trade back into us and have an adequate down payment. Now, what I do that's I think that's really helped us is I make a copy of all of my ROs from service repairs. I put them in a laminated sheath, put them on the dash, so the customer drives the car. They really see what we've done to recondition this car instead of just washing it, detailing it, and changing the oil and putting it out there and see if it sinks or swims.
So you actually put is it the original repair order or a copy of repair order?
Actually, I put a copy in so I can make sure my accountants get the original on there, but I make sure a photocopy and it's identical to the one we received from our service center. This gives us a couple of really good credibility points. One is the customer sees that we have reconditioned this car, that they've got a risk of minimal chance of trying to leave the lot and spend money on this car in the first 3 to 6 months. The other point is when they go to their bank or credit union, they go in with the information along with the buyer's guide that what we've done to recondition this car. So the banks and the credit unions realize that what collateral they're placing their loans on. That really gives them a lot of peace of mind too, because they're seeing the quality of the type of car that they're financing and they're putting on the road too. And it's really built our reputation up considerably.
So are you saying the banks are actually buying more because of the reconditioning report that they see?
We're actually getting an adjustment on our net reserve that we're getting back, or the cap that we're receiving checks on from our cars, because they're realizing that along the way they're hearing that we're paying more for cars, and along the way they're seeing that we're putting more into the car. So instead of just going as a quick guide in the book to see what they're going to loan on loan value or retail, they're spending a lot more time and looking, well, look, they've reconditioned this car and they've placed a lot of emphasis on the quality of a car. Even though it's a used car, we really look at these cars to try to get them as new as possible, inside and out. And it's really made a big difference in our sales and the turn on our inventory. It's helped us a whole lot.
I see a few puzzled looks. Any questions? Yes?
On your RO, it's your original RO pricing?
Correct, yeah. I just show them exactly what we've done. I think it really makes a big difference down to the placement of the tires. You know, I generally think that I could save money by putting 2 tires on cars. I put 4 on. I want to make sure these people have a good car to drive out on. We test drive our cars a lot. I have my employees test drive our cars instead of letting them sit. We rotate them from lot to lot, so it looks like we have fresh inventory. My lots are probably about 15 miles apart, and there's 3 of them. So as I rotate the inventory on each lot and from lot to lot, it gives us a fresh facelift every day, because we have a lot of drive-by. We have a lot of working class that do a lot of drive-by. So when they drive by and they see the same car there, you know what, they're going to see the same thing going on. But when they see different cars, they'll actually pull in and ask, hey, where was that Honda Accord you had out here last week? So we've got a customer that comes in, and if we've moved it to a different lot, we're able to address this, have a porter bring it right to us to show the customer, and not have the customer have the ability to leave and go by and think about it, buy something somewhere else.
There was a situation where Rick Hendrick, Automotive Group, had this practice of putting a copy of the repair order in each of the glove boxes, so the salesperson would actually have a sales pitch on the lot as opposed into the close. And originally, they blocked out the prices, so customers would not see it. And when they switched personnel, they forgot to tell them to block out the prices. So all the repair orders were actually going into the glove box with the price. It actually improved reception of the customer. It actually saw what the dealer was spending on reconditioning. So instead of hiding it, it became a really big sales pitch. And then when a customer went up the street, if they asked the competitor, can I see the repair orders, what kind of reaction do you think they got from that salesman? Hell, I can't even see them. So it's become a very, very big sales tool. And by putting on the, actually Honda of Canada in the recertification program, they actually make a little book that they put all the repair orders, the warranty information, copies right on the dash. So when a salesperson is out there, they actually can say, hey, Mr. Customer, here's the price, and you said it was a little bit higher than what you would like it to be, but here's why. And there's all the reconditioning. And no one else in town is actually doing that.
Hey, Joe, if I might add also, it considerably raised our gross profit per unit, considerably. And we're not the lowest price dealership in our area, but I've realized by the quality that we've placed in reconditioning, it's helped tremendously on our turn in the inventory. Also, we've noticed too, we close on Sundays. That's our largest shopping day for people coming by looking, because we can tell by the handprints on all the windows when we come in on Mondays. So, and in saying that, you know, we were wondering why Mondays and Tuesdays were slow for us. So after we started posting our reconditioning on Mondays and Tuesdays, it picked our rate of travel up on our phone calls and our lot travel a tremendous amount.
Now, you would agree to the practice on the web, because what draws customers to your website is information you put out there. Is that correct?
Right, and that's like I was saying, that's one of the first things I put out there. If I put 4 new tires on, or if I put brand new brakes on, that's in the first 2 sentences of the ad. Same exact concept, except for he's got people walking by his lot, and I've got people browsing by my lot on the internet. But both of us are pushing the same information.
So instead of saying, if I could, you would you, or what's it going to take, the salesperson actually has a sales process and selling value in the reconditioning. Because chances are you're probably spending $400 to $600 or $800 reconditioning, but you're the only person that knows it. And no consumer out there is aware of it, and your salespeople might not even be aware of it. Question? That's all. First here, then we'll go over here.
Joe, I would recommend, and I'd like to discuss it just for a moment, that you actually take a copy of the repair order, turn it into a JPEG file, and put it on your video slide on the internet. That's a great practice if you are, in fact, reconditioning your cars. If you're not,
Right.
reconditioning them randomly, it might not be a great thing, but if you do reconditioning, such as this gentleman, I think that's a great practice. We have just a quick discussion on that.
Now, in what way? Because the idea is...
Is anybody else doing it? Is anybody else having success with it?
Maybe I should be. It sounds like a pretty good idea.
Now, there is a warning. You might want to check with your state's attorney general in terms of what you can divulge. If the repair order is your repair order, traditionally there's not a problem. If, however, you've included repair orders from the previous owner, you probably have a problem. Right. So you want to make sure that the repair order is your repair order. But why not? If you're going to put the video out there, and I'm a very strong proponent of video, and I really was glad to hear that Eric uses it. People will spend time on video. You know, I'm looking to buy, you know, I'm an amateur photographer, and I'm looking to buy a pocket camera. And I got to tell you, I went online today and looked at 4 videos because I want to see. I don't understand the written word oftentimes and specifics, but if there's someone out there showing me, I pay attention to that. You tell me about reconditioning, special financing, guarantees, and assurances, that's a lot of words. And I'm not sure I want to read all that, but if you put a video out there explaining that, absolutely. Plus testimonials of your best customers. And with, oh gosh, was it one-step photo, one-step camera? What's it, cost $100? Which one is that? What is it?
Yeah.
Flip. Flip is the easiest camera out there for $109 to upload video. And darn good quality. Flip, that's right, thank you.
Just because you said something about it real quickly about previous customers' repair orders, if I can ever get my customers' previous repair records, customers love to see that. And it's not even a matter of showing that to customers, but even just the fact that we'll usually take, if we can get a stack of their maintenance and stuff, throw it across the hood of the car or the seat or something and take a picture of it. You can't actually see anything. You can't see what they did. You can't see the customer's name. You can't see anything. But the fact that you've got that picture on your ad that says, you know, it says here's the service records from the last couple of years, and most of the time people don't even ask us for that when they're in the dealership. Most of the time it's good enough that they just saw a stack, you know, that it was advertised.
Did any of you ever try to buy a car from a private owner, and the private owner brought in a stack of his ROs? And if you're really smart and typical car dealer, what'd you do with it? You threw it out. Because there was no value to you, yet this person knew if he was going to sell to someone else, there was value. We do the total opposite of private seller to private seller. We take that information, we toss in a can when it's a great big selling tool for you. What you need to do is shop, pretend you're a private buyer, and ask about that car parked on Walmart's parking lot for sale. That person will come down with a stack of repair orders and notes. They go to your lot, what do you say? Ain't she nice? What's it going to take? If I could you, would you? Think about it.
There's a couple manufacturer websites. I know Lexus for sure, and there might be a couple other ones where you can sign up with a car and pull what maintenance was done on that car at Lexus dealerships. So I just had an LS that I logged in as an owner on there, put in the VIN number, and I got 4 pages of service records. So you could see everything that was done on it from brand new at these 3 different dealerships that would be serviced on. And it's 4 pages of service records that you can then actually share with your customer too, because there's no private previous customer data on there. It's just, time belt replaced, service this, service that, and there can be a wealth of information there.
Which has more information, Carfax or a pack of ROs? Pack of ROs. So you think about value selling, the Carfax has marketing, but here you've got reality and accuracy. It's a great sales tool and gives you a lot more credibility. Anything else you'd like to ask of the panel? Yeah.
I do a lot of that, show the customer RO and stuff, but question, let's say you showed an RO, gave copies to the customer, says you put brakes on the car, and do this, do you hold yourself liable for anything?
Oh, absolutely. Why not? I mean, you recondition the car. Now, there is a however. If you didn't do any of that stuff, you can clap them on yourself. But the fact of the matter is, as long as you've done it, there's no liability. You also have an advantage here. What type of warranty do you give right now on your cars? Yeah, what type of warranty do you give right now? 1 month. Let me ask you something. When you replace a part in reconditioning of a vehicle, brake pads and other, what's the warranty on those parts? Almost a year. So when you're advertising 30 days, are you not cutting yourself short? Absolutely. So you have to remember, you're giving yourself a warranty on you. Ladies and gentlemen, you replace a part. That part probably has up to a 1-year warranty against failure. Hello. We want that customer back in. That's why the service department is so very helpful. Now we really got kind of excited when John was mentioning the, getting customers in at a low rate. Al Serra Chevrolet in Grand Blanc, Michigan, they do an oil change for $9.95. It's not a gimmick. It's not an upsell. As a matter of fact, technicians or service advisors are not allowed to upsell unless it's legitimate. In other words, it's not, come on in, we're going to smack you with a $76 bill. It's $9.95. It absolutely is a money loser. But what he said was, since he's been doing that for the last 3 years, his sales have gone up in car sales and service sales. It got people used to using them. So we're always used to trying to get that real big spread in profit margin. And we've got to think about what can we do to get customers to keep coming back over and over again. Being fair consistently. Getting people to use the product. And Mannheim's finding ways to get people to use their product and their services. Getting people to come in because of service. I'm much less expensive. The only thing I disagree with, John, is not charging yourself the same amount as you would retail. Because I do believe that the service department should be a profit center. And you're giving that money away. So I'm going to disagree with you on that. And I think if you charge 80 here, you charge 80 here. Otherwise, you're just giving it away anyway. Your gross is not going up. So that's my only disagreement. So your labor rate really should be the same internally and customer pay. What's that?
If you give it away on commission, you have to do that work anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, so the house might as well keep it. Exactly. Yeah. So if you charge your labor rate at $10 an hour internally, theoretically your gross should go up. It never does because you discount it away.
What about parts too? Should you mark the parts
yes,
to yourself?
For every $1 you make in service, you should generate 90 cents in parts. It's 90 cents for every $1 you sell.
But you would mark the parts up as well?
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir. Yeah.
To yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And that's your retirement program. That's aloha the other way.
One thing, we do a 1995 oil change, and we do a 30-point check, but we do try to upsell.
Right.
We also watch
right. The Latin phrase, as you see in Caesar's Palace, I think it's somewhere in building, e pluribus screwum. Just charge $19.95, and it's amazing what will happen. Get people just used to you, getting their used to you.
Well, people appreciate you telling them that they have bad brakes. And
if it's legit.
Take care of the brake check.
If
yeah,
it's legit.
Of course.
Yeah. Not rotating air and tires.
We do a free safety check too. We have a safety check in Hawaii, and it guarantees that the customer is going to come in every year, so I get to see them again, as long as they keep the plate holders on the car.
As long
no
as
plate hold our plate holders have to be on the car.
Ah, you're one of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some states, that's illegal.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's illegal. Yeah.
We've had customers, if you don't, if they bring their car in or a motorcycle in for an oil change or whatever, and you've now taken on, we've had customers view it as that you've taken on some kind of assurance policy. You should have told us that the thing had an exhaust, or you should have told us this. So you really can't call that an upsell. It's an information, and if you fail to inform them,
Again, it's talking about legitimate work, absolutely. But you're not out there to bring them in to find things. The customer has to feel as though you're truly in their interest, not, gee, is that really necessary? Is it a necessary safety item, or is it a nice want to, have to? Just a nice want to. There's a big difference. But certainly if it's a brake issue, exhaust issue, we're going to die from carbon monoxide, yeah, that customer should know about it. Absolutely. We're just trying to get out of the gouging reputation. I'm going to get here first. Yes. If you put a car on OVE, what?
Yeah, if you put a car on OVE, the question is, do you have to take it to the auction to get a condition report? And the answer is no. You don't have to take it to the auction. So you can choose to list your car with the buyer picking it up directly from you. Or you can choose to get it to the auction. It's whatever you choose. Typically, what dealers will do is they'll say, okay, I don't want to send my car to the auction, full stop. So they'll have condition report writers. You can order this right on OVE. You can have condition report writers come to your lot, write up your cars, put them into Inventory Manager for you. You price them out. And then if a buyer buys them and they order a post-sale inspection, the post-sale inspection will happen at your lot. You don't have to transport the car at all, full stop. The buyer will pick it up from you and take it directly to their lot. So it's just an alternative way to use OVE. It's up to you as a seller. It's seller's choice. Do I want to send it to the auction when the deal is done, or do I want to keep it on my lot? Strictly up to you. I will add this, though. For anybody that is interested in selling on OVE, we've recently implemented the option for you to accept offers as a seller. I would highly recommend that you do so.
Apologize for noise in the background. We're just grateful we're not next to the restroom. Any question?
My question to the three gentlemen, what is your overhead per unit?
What is your overhead per unit? Your cost to sell?
Mine's $685. Reconditioning.
Just reconditioning, but when you average your overhead, everything else, your personnel costs, your renters, utilities and everything. Do you ever
So he's looking at net profit per retail unit sold.
Mine's about $1,400.
Is that profit or is that cost?
Cost. That's cost on there. I also failed to mention, too, I leave the composite the checklist, our used car checklist that our mechanics go over our cars, too. Leave that in there. So our salesmen are required to go on test drives with our customers. We don't pitch them the keys and let them try to sell themselves because it doesn't work. And when they're driving with the customer, they're showing them where they're in a park situation, not while they're driving, but they're discussing what all we look at on the cars, even down. We put windshield wiper blades on every car we sell. Because if we're test driving a car in the rain and that windshield wiper's skipping or it's making the half moon mark all the way across the windshield and it's etching the glass, it really helps when the customer drives a car. Being a used car, it looks like a new car if they're driving in the rain. It helps out a lot.
Answer your question, by the way. I'm not sure where you were going, and perhaps this might answer your question in detail. When I look at the sale of the unit, I look at 30% gross to sales. 30% gross to sales. And that will tell me how you discount or discounting too much or perhaps not enough. So possibly your gross could be too high and you're not being competitive in the marketplace, or gross is too low. But I should be looking about 30% gross to sales dollars. Does that help you? Okay.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
You made $1,200 on the car, front end only. Okay? That should be 30% of the selling price of the vehicle. Okay? So if you're going to sell a car for $20,000, 30% of that should be gross before we subtract everything else out. So it's gross to sales. So it's possible you could be making too much gross. How will I know that? One, your inventory turn might be low. So you're grossing, but your inventory turn is low. That's going to affect your net bottom line. It also can mean that you're not selling compared to what the market is selling. Right now in some markets, we've got 6 used vehicles sold for every new car sold. Right now in the United States, we're running pretty close, 3 to 1, 3 used cars for every new car sold. So I look at your market, you might not be selling enough compared to what the market is. You're bragging and boasting about high gross, yet you're putting yourself out of business because you're not being competitive. Well, why is that? Well, because we pay people on gross. And because we pay people on gross, we actually have salespeople who might reject a deal because the gross isn't high enough. Because we get plaques and awards for high gross. TTO meaning? Throw them out. Yeah.
If you have a replaceable car, if you have a $10,000 car and it's replaceable, and I don't know what that is to you, if it's a Chevy Impala or to me it's a Camry, and someone comes in there and offers you a 10.7 and you just think you can't get another penny out of them, or even 10.5. If I look at the car and say, I can go buy another one of those for 10 grand, why wouldn't you make 500 bucks? And not only will you make 500 bucks, but you have a customer then who probably thinks he got a pretty good deal because he did, and he's probably going to tell somebody else. And then when he sends in that next person, they're not going to be as much of a hard negotiator, and maybe they're going to give you 11 or 11.5 for the same car. So I get a lot of people that came off of a larger lot or a new car dealer or something that they just wouldn't take a small deal. And it's stupid not to take small deals if you can replace the inventory. If you know it's worth 10 grand, take 10.5. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. And you don't know when that's coming.
Every deal.
Another question. Yes?
I was just asking about the 30%. I understand what you're saying, but on a $20,000 car, that's a $6,000 profit.
Mm-hmm.
You find that common in dealers you visit?
Well, right, again, your better dealers, again, your gross is in direct relationship to what they've done. Service, ROs, selling process. And right now, as I mentioned in one of my seminars, you're looking at a franchise dealer was running around $14 a copy, front-end gross, and now they're up to 22. So cars are harder to find, and you've got to be able to make that gross. So ask yourself, I'm busting my butt to get these cars. There's fewer of them out there. My sales are less. I've got to make more money. So that's why we're pushing towards that 30%.
I understand, and I'm not arguing, I'm trying to understand. Like the 2,200 copy in the car store, that's still 30% of the sales.
No, it's not, but that's on the new car side. I apologize, on the used car side. But they still are lousy at it. They're still they're very lousy at it, and their cost to sell is much higher.
I think it might be, Andy just looked at me and he looked like he's really inadequate because he's not making $6,000 on a $20,000 car. There's no way. I'd be very happy if I made $6,000 on a $20,000 car. Those are very few and far between.
What's your overall average is what I'm going for. What's your overall average?
$2,000 a car.
Which is what percentage of your overall sales? So you're looking at one car. I'm looking at overall sales. I'm looking at overall sales. Hello.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
So you dealers hold on to that one thought. The what if scenario. What if the perpetrator walks in with a grenade in one hand, a bazooka in the other, and is wired with plastic explosives? You're going to die. Worry about the whole. Worry about the whole. Again, that's before expenses. Yeah.
Talk to Al, he makes you $6,000, $7,000 on rent and all this stuff. That's the program.
Does he get it today?
No, he's here today.
Does he get that today?
He says he does.
The 6,000 is dead.
Absolutely, he'll show you how to do it. The seminar. No, what Andy's saying is.
I'm talking about $6,000 profit in my pocket. Sit Jay.
Forget the 6,000 and focus on the 30%. Word. Word. I'm from Detroit. They'll make me put a cap in you. Question. Do you pack your cars?
No, I
500.
don't. I don't.
What's that?
500.
500 pack? Do you pack?
600.
600?
I don't because we're buy here, pay here. I don't pack my cars.
What's your question? You asked for a reason.
I pack mine 500, and I know some new car dealers by me are packing 12, and another, 1250 or 250 for advertising. So they have $1,500 packs on.
You ask yourself, you usually have to ask why that's done. And if you have traditionally have a weak sales staff, you're going to pack high. And you're trying to compensate for poor salesmanship and value selling. You think they're going to give it away, so you're going to keep it in the house. You probably will also suffer high turnover of salespeople. You'll probably suffer low morale because they can't make any money. And you'll probably suffer from fraud because they're going to steal something away from you to get that back. So I'm not in favor of $12, $15 packs. I think packs should not be the same on every car, by the way. I think a pack should vary based upon the type of vehicle it is. If it's a hard-to-find vehicle, I can't replace it, I'm going to put a pack on it that's rather substantial. Eric says, if I can find that car, or a dime a dozen, Mandy says, hey, I go to the auction, and I can find all the Ford Focuses I want, why pack it at all? It also keeps your salesmen off their toes. They don't know what the pack is. It's a floating pack.
I don't pack in 15, about 1,500 pack 5. But our problem is, like all of us, my gas bill runs, I'm stocking about 40 cars and a lot of SUVs. My gas bill, without being on the road, is $2,200, $2,300 a month. So I'm a small operation. So my gas bill runs $3,500 a month, where we used to put in, $500, say, for test drive. I mean, these Suburbans were putting $30 in. But unfortunately, everybody rides it all out. You got to,
And that's why I think you've got to look at floating packs. Where can I make the great? If this is going to make a lot of gross on that car, would take a higher pack. Again, think about your salespeople. They've got to make a living. And we have not changed salesman's compensation of 30% against gross for the last, 82 years. Unfortunately, gross has dropped, and we're still shafting salesmen at 30% of gross. And you wonder why there's fraud or why there's turnover or low morale. So I think you have to be fair to the sales staff in terms of how you're packing it. What's that? Oh, absolutely. And become a modern dealer, yes. Because the industry has changed. But look at floating pack. And by the way, if I missed a car and I happen to buy it $4,000 right of book, I'm not going to pack that $500. I may pack it $4,000. But I'm not going to give my employees the benefit of my buying it right.
do you believe in putting a high spiff on an old car?
I knew that was coming.
If you wish to teach a dog to crap on your rug, give him a biscuit the first time he does it. And I promise you, he will do it again. So if you like old inventory and aged inventory, put a spiff on it. Because you'll have aged again. Spiffing doesn't work. It's a mathematical, physiological impossibility. It doesn't matter as long as your pay does not exceed 24% of gross. As long as your compensation does not exceed 24% of gross, you can make a pay plan anything you want it to be. As long as it's consistent and stays within 24% max of total gross. You're fine. You want to pay a small salary to allow for vacations and illnesses and loyalty and other duties, absolutely. And then basically we look at the 60-40 formula. 60% of a compensation program should be bonus induced, and 40% max in salary. So 40% is the max amount for salary, 60% is where we should be in terms of bonuses, and not the other way around. You want people to work for their pay. But as long as it doesn't exceed 24%, it don't matter.